Legend of Korra Season 3 finale, Enter the Void, and Venom of the Red Lotus. This was an amazing season finale. It sucks to see the season come to an end, of course, but it has me excited for what they might do in Season 4. We are getting a Season 4 slash Book 4, so don't worry about that if you guys hadn't heard. They announced that before Season 3 even started officially, I believe. But we're getting a Season 4, and just like every season in this series, honestly, it didn't really end on a cliffhanger, so we don't know what's going to happen for next season. For the last one, it was kind of easy to guess that it would have a lot to do with the real world and the spirit world converging, but that's really it. This season, as far as, or this series for Legend of Korra, it doesn't really end on cliffhangers like Avatar did, where it was more of a long story over those 3 seasons. As with Legend of Korra, is really just the characters going through different events over and over again, which I don't mind. It sucks to see Zahir and his team disappear because they were my favorite villains since Amon. Like, I liked Unalak and he was fine, and the Vatu stuff was cool, and of course that kind of gave us Beginnings Part 1 and 2, which are of course some of the best episodes, probably the 2 best episodes we've ever had in Legend of Korra. But Amon was an amazing villain, and also it doesn't hurt that his villain had an amazing story that ended on a great twist for that season. And in this one, we just had 4 amazing villains that were just too deadly to defeat. So it was hard not to really love these characters, and it kind of made me think like, man, I kind of want a story where we just get to see like villains in the Avatar universe, where it's like a sideshow or something, or maybe it's we have Legend of Korra where it's our typical 30 minutes, and then maybe something airs online, or I guess it all airs online unfortunately now, but maybe we get something that's like 5 minutes or so, and it's like a villain that's not even related to Korra, where she doesn't interact with this character. It's just a person who's an evil bender, and they end up fighting like a random person or something. I don't know, but Zahir and the Red Lotus were amazing villains for this team. It was great to have where it's like Team Avatar and Team Red Lotus, so it was really even and stuff, even with Asami not being a bender. She's a great fighter, and we really got to see that. It was only one moment in the finale, but she had a really cool move, which I'll get to towards the end. But I love the season finale. It was unbelievable, the stuff we got to see. The actual finale, Venom of the Red Lotus, was definitely better than Enter the Void, but both episodes were absolutely amazing. Both had great moments that I didn't expect at all, but Enter the Void was definitely amazing. We got to see a really great fight when Korra goes to surrender herself, and then she finds out it's a trick. That leads to an amazing fight. We get all sorts of stuff. We One of the things we got that I did expect, Mako does learn lava bending, which I was really hoping for. I didn't think that he was gonna get metal bending. That's, it was one of the big things. Like, is he gonna get metal bending or lava bending? With him having trained to get metal bending and it wasn't working at all, I was really hopeful that he would get lava bending, especially since it just made perfect sense. That way he could go toe to toe with Kazan, which he does, and it was really cool to see him get that. And honestly, and I mentioned this in a review I did, I'm not sure how many episodes ago, but I really want him to get both metal bending and lava bending, because I feel like Bolin deserves that, honestly, because I like his character. He tends not to get a lot of focus in the action. Like, he's an earthbender, but now he's going to have lava bending, so it's going to be cool to see some cool different things out of him. And if he does somehow get metal bending in later seasons, which I doubt they'll do, they'll probably stick to him just doing lava bending. It's still going to be great to see him have his own unique focus, because he was just an earthbender, and even though he's cool as an earthbender, we've seen him do some really great stuff. And like, one thing that comes to mind is when they had the premiere for the movie he did, the Nuktuk film, at the bending arena. That was one of my favorite moments I've ever seen when he was earthbending, because they had the part where he fought the guys on the actual earthbending platform, and he shot all the discs up. I always thought that looked amazing, and I watched that episode I think a week or two ago, and it's just really cool to watch. And he saved the president and stuff, and it was just a really cool moment for him. And I love those types of moments, because I feel like Bolin doesn't get that action focus, because of course he's the comedic foil of the entire series. But it was cool to see him get lava bending. It was great to see him go through that, and he took on Gazan. It'll be great to see him advance in that, but we got a little taste here in this finale that was really cool. One thing that I did not expect at all was what happened with God, the Red Lotus, how they all just kind of just went their separate ways, and how they all disappeared basically. Zahir went the basic route where he got captured in the end because, of course, he's the main villain. So he was captured. His girlfriend's head basically exploded, which was unbelievable with Lynn and her sister. And I was not expecting it to end like that. But when she put the suit over her head and it was just like, it blew up. And of course, they didn't show it blow up because it's a kid's show. It's like, mid teens, late teens type of thing. They can't really do that on Nick. But that was crazy. I did not expect it to end that way. And she died. I wish I could remember the people's name. I always forget their names. Um, Ming Hua finally got electrocuted, so that was pretty interesting. Mako, it was one of the big things in the season. It was something I never really noticed until I watched someone else's review, and he mentioned how he had this issue, and a ton of other people do. How whenever Mako would fight her, he didn't use lightning because for whatever, I don't know why, but he never did. And in this, he finally used it at the end and he got her. I mean, he was completely surrounded. He just jumped, and boom, she was down for the count. And even if she didn't die from that, I kind of have to assume she died from what Gazan did, which was basically cause a volcano around himself, which I thought was a great scene when he did that. And it was sort of like a cool little shockwave when he basically like pushed everything out, and then you could see sort of brought it in, but he was at the sort of pushing out stance, and it was sort of like a shockwave they showed, and then lava just started to pour in. I thought that was a great scene, and he was so devoted to just not going to prison. He was like, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. And that was a great scene. It was crazy to see that he would kill himself, but he is probably one of the most wanted people in the entire Avatar universe, so it kind of makes sense. It's either go to jail or fight till you die, so that's what he did. And that was a crazy scene too, but all of at least all of the main people from the Red Lotus, we saw like four random people, like two guards and two people who were doing like the metal bending and stuff, but the main people that we focus on for the Red Lotus have all been taken out. The Red Lotus is still out there, and I do love that reference that they gave us at the end where they talk about we don't know how many more members of the Red Lotus are actually out there, and they all have the same plan to go after Korra. I don't feel like that's going to be the main focus anymore because we've gotten the introduction, but I do think it'll be a focus, much like the White Lotus was in the original Avatar, where it's like, yeah, it's here and there, and we mention it, and then there are certain points, like in the end of the original Avatar, where Iroh was with the other masters, and they were all the White Lotus, and it was really prominent during that point. I think that's how it's going to be for the rest of Korra, where they focus on trying to take out the Red Lotus, but they're going to have other villains that come in and out. But the Red Lotus will be there, and it might come back into the forefront where one of the main villains is once again a part of the Red Lotus, or the Red Lotus will try to basically recruit whoever the main villain might be, or something like that. So I think that's how it's going to play out. They won't be just like Red Lotus for the rest of the series, but they're going to be there because they're trying to take out the Avatar, so it makes sense. But that was great. It sucks that we don't, as I mentioned, we don't really get a lot of foreshadowing for what's going to happen. One of the great things we did get is that we're going to see a lot more of the Airbenders next season. That's a given. But the way Tenzin described it was really cool, and how he said, as Korra recovers, we're going to basically take on her responsibilities and get back to our roots. And we're going to become nomads. We're going to travel the world and help all people of all nations and fight off against evil and stuff like that. So that was really cool. That's a slight foreshadow, I think, that we might get for season 4. And I'm excited for that. It was really cool. It was great to see Jinora graduate. That was pretty sweet. I was hoping that, because they mentioned how it had been 2 weeks, I was hoping that Jinora would already have her hair back with the tattoos, because that's what I want to see her look like, because I'm sure she'll grow her hair back. But they did it where she had shaved her head and stuff, and she had the tattoos. Of course, it just instantly all you think of is Aang, because she's like his age, and she was bald, so it was like you just instantly see Aang when you see that. Plus, she's his granddaughter, so it kind of fits. But it was cool to see her graduate. It would be cool to see other characters graduate. One thing I caught during the graduation, at like the very end of the line, was the guy that was like Napoleon Dynamite from earlier in the season, who didn't want to go. Somehow they convinced him to actually join the Air Nation. So I thought that was pretty funny. Like, hey, they actually got that guy later in between these episodes. So that was pretty funny to see. But I love the ending. And then, of course, these are like the minor points. The big points were, of course, like just the action that happened in these 2 episodes. some stuff that wasn't even related to action, like Zahir learning to fly, was just unbelievable. That was amazing to see, and I didn't know what he planned on doing. I wasn't sure what was about to happen when he jumped off the cliff. I thought he was just gonna fall back and, I don't know, escape or something. He wasn't worried about what he would hit. He had to watch his front because he was facing against two earthbenders slash metalbenders. But he jumps off and then he's on a cloud, and it was just like he's flying, and it just looked amazing. It was great to see that, and I don't know if we're gonna get that in season 4 where someone else learns it, but it sucks. Like, the one person that's evil in the show is the one guy who unlocks the ability to fly, and it shows that that legend wasn't really a legend. That previous Avatar, or not Avatar, but Airbender, did really learn how to fly. He didn't touch the ground for 40 years, and that was amazing to see. It was cool to see him fight. Him fighting against Korra was probably my favorite ending I've seen in the series. As much as I love, like I said, I love Damon and his story and the twist they had with that. I enjoyed the stuff they had in the season 2 finale with the fight against Unalaq and all that stuff. This, I would have to say, is by far my favorite season finale. I loved the fight. It it was almost just the original Avatar. Like, they do their references in pretty much every season to the original Avatar. The end fight itself was like a huge reference to the series finale for The Last Airbender. Just the roles were kind of reversed. It was Zahir who was the airbender, and Korra was using firebending to jump around like the Fire King was in, or the Fire Lord was in The Last Airbender. And it just looked amazing. Like, all the stuff they did, they had the pillars and stuff of rock, and it was like, this is The Last Airbender happening right now. And it was just really great to see. The action was cool. Korra going into just the Avatar state was way cooler than we've ever seen, because she was basically blocked off from it until this episode, until she was almost about to die. And I didn't think she could do that at all. It was just simply that she couldn't control it. And maybe this sort of awakening of the Avatar state through sheer stress and physical harm will allow her to sort of gain the ability to control it again. And maybe it'll be more like the original Avatar, where she can't just do it like she did in season 1 and season 2. It'll be when she's in real harm, or something emotionally distresses her a lot, and then she goes into it. Because that's how she was in this episode, where she was going to die and she went into the Avatar state, and then she just kind of beat everybody up, and it was amazing. I love that. But her, like, spitting fire and using the fire as a jet, like, which she also did in the season 2 finale when she was fighting against Batu, it looked really cool. Going up against Zahir, him dodging and flying around was really sweet, and he thought he had her, and then it was really cool to see the airbenders work together, with, once again, Jinora sort of stepping up, just like she did to get everyone out of the handcuffs and stuff. She had her cool plan. She stepped up and was like, hey, we're a bunch of airbenders, this hasn't happened in centuries, let's work together and take this guy down so we can save Korra. And they formed this giant tornado, take him down. It was an amazing season finale. I definitely loved it. I don't know, I'm sure there's stuff I'm skipping over, but ultimately I love the season finale. It had, of course, great comedy. We even got like a little bit with Bolin putting the sock in Zahir's mouth, which I thought was just silly and also kind of nasty. Like, that kind of sucks for Zahir, but it was a great season finale. Definitely can't wait for season 4. I don't know what it's gonna be about. Like I said, it could be about the Red Lotus. I mean, that's really our only hint as to what season 4 could possibly be about. It sucks to see Zahir and his team disappear, because they were my favorite villains, because I think it's because they were so powerful. So it was, whenever they fought against someone, it wasn't like, oh, it's the Red Lotus versus Team Avatar, and it's just as simple as that. It's like Zahir and his people against like a dozen people, because they're just that powerful. And Tenzin said it, I believe it was maybe the 4th or 5th episode this season, that alone, or it was Zuko who said that, I think it was in the 2nd episode. He said alone that they could take on any bender, but together they could take on the whole world. And that was before Zahir was even an airbender. And so just them being so incredibly dangerous and powerful is why I love them so much as villains. Unfortunately, they're out. They've been caught or killed, in most cases killed. But they were great villains. I definitely love them. One little thing that I did skip over was Asami, when I mentioned that we got to see a little action mode. I love the little bit of action they actually gave her in the finale. I wish she had more, and I wish she had more fighting scenes in general this season. I feel like she fought a lot less. She was in some of the crazy moments, like when her and Korra were stuck in the desert, and of course she, being the engineer, was the only reason they even got out of that with the boat. But I really wish they gave her more cool action moments, like we've seen her in season 1 and season 2 with her little glove. And we got to see that in this one when Janora is trying to get everyone to escape, and then the team comes in at the last second. And when Asami jumped over the rock, and then she spins and just zaps the guy in the back, that was a really cool moment to me. Like, she took that guy down. She dodged him earthbending and just took the guy down. She made me think of Kakashi from Naruto, if anyone watches that, which I'm sure a lot of people do. And it was just like, man, she like lightning bladed this guy and just took him down. But it was really cool to see that. Like I said, I wish we got to see more, but overall, it was an amazing season finale. Both episodes had just some unbelievable moments. Here flying, just, it's like, crap, that's amazing. Seeing the air temple go down was pretty sad, but it was a great scene. It was like just Tenzin having to watch that and knowing, like, I can't really rebuild this the way it used to be because I don't really know how to do stuff like that. I can't just recreate all of these ancient statues and just the ancient building itself. It's just gone in lava. So that was a pretty emotional scene. I enjoyed that as well. And just the whole fight with Mako and Bolin fighting against Ming, Hua, and Gazan was pretty cool as well. All the action, like, of course, just the action I could really skip over. It's obviously just all amazing. But amazing season finale. I can't say that enough times. But of course, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. With these people having been my favorite villains, I have to ask, who is your favorite villain throughout these 3 seasons we've had so far? We've got Amon in the Equalist, which was, of course, a great story. We even had the one guy back then who wasn't a bender, but he had like those two electric batons. I loved his character as well because he wasn't a bender, but he took on people. He was really like a ninja when you think about it. But he would take on benders all the time, and he was dodging moves left and right, and he would take people down. So I love that, but I love season 2 villain not as much because it was a lot of, admittedly, it was sort of like political stuff. That's how it seemed a lot, and there wasn't too much action against the actual villain himself, or even too much interaction between Korra and her uncle until the season finale. And then we had the Red Lotus, which is just like mind-boggling, just strong villain. So who was your favorite villain throughout this series so far? And of course, what do you guys think we're going to get for season 4? We've got the Red Lotus, we got the spirits. I feel like we didn't get nearly as much spirit stuff as I thought we would get, considering the book is called Spirits. It was really focused on the Red Lotus, and I feel like it could have been called the Red Lotus, but of course that would probably give some stuff away. But what do you guys think we're going to get for season 4, and who is your favorite villain so far in Legend of Korra? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.